Carjacking at the airport. You might feel safe at an airport, but never know who's watching.
A newly released video showing a woman being carjacked and kidnapped at the city's airport. Police say the two suspects are just 14 years old. Ed Gallick takes a closer look at the difficulty of finding justice in cases like this, even when the crime is caught on camera.
This woman was returning to her vehicle when two teenagers snuck into the back of the vehicle. What happens inside the car is unclear, but the woman quickly acts. She begins blasting on her horn, causing a scene, but the carjackers won't let her out of the vehicle. Despite being young, just 14 as the clip explains, these teen boys have gained total control of the vehicle over the grown woman. People run up to save the woman, but the carjackers yank her back in and quickly try to drive off. One teen was found and convicted while the other managed to get away.
Ma'am, what's going on?
They stole my car.
Okay.
I was parked at the airport. I'm okay. I tried to find them.
Despite the crime being caught on camera with witnesses and everything that might have been necessary, the victim was having a hard time getting justice as they couldn't find or convict the juvenile who went missing.
Which way did the car go?
That way.
Do you know the plate?
I can't.
It's okay, it's okay.
Hockey player has heart attack. This clip starts off normally as an amateur hockey team of older players begins their game.
This game was being live streamed and the players suddenly found themselves fighting to help save the life.
One man begins to slide off camera as he goes into cardiac arrest. Both teams quickly call to action with a person down to aid in the situation. Luckily, someone was on the scene ready to perform CPR on the player, bringing him back to life. Certainly, hockey can be exciting and the games can keep you on the edge of your seat, but rarely do you encounter a game that's so life or death the actual stakes are, well, someone's life. Massive accident in Ohio. Car flips. It's never good when you see someone driving erratically. This dashcam caught the terrifying moment of someone driving too fast and swerving out of control. The car seems to lose its grip on the road, sending it careening into a pole and flips over entirely.
Microscope, 31A.
The clip continues to show the moments where the woman is rescued from the vehicle, pulled from the scene, and dragged off camera, as well as her mugshot. Luckily, the person behind her caught the entire death-defying interaction and everyone in the car got out alive. Ohio CCTV catches ghost. How would you respond in the events of a paranormal event? Watching the clip caught on CCTV is enough to make you wonder. These people watch as what appears to be a ghost walks in the background.
See how clear the mailbox is, too?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that is true. That's true.
Most of these sorts of clips have some deniability to them. People claim the clip isn't clear or you don't really know what's going on. In this case, however, you can see everything in the clip, including the ghost mentioned before.
I don't know if spooked is the right word, but thought it was so real that they called out the department.
Of course, this isn't enough to convince everyone, but it's more proof than most CCTV found footage ghost clips provide. What do you think? Ghost or hoax?
So sometimes it's grainy video, but that is...
What is
that's
that?
more transparent. Yeah.
Tornado tears through Ohio town. Most people don't have to deal with terrifying weather at nearly any point in their life. They'll deal with swells and storms, but unless you live somewhere with extremes, you may not get the worst of it. This CCTV footage catches a tornado in its path as it tears through a town in Ohio. The most terrifying thing about it is that a tornado doesn't stop. All you can do is ensure you aren't in its path, not the other way around. There's plenty of media about the terror of twisters or tornadoes, but until you live through one, it's hard to understand. If you don't live where tornadoes or hurricanes with tornadoes are frequent, consider yourself lucky. Tornado forms on traffic cam. Watching traffic cams can catch some insane things, and no one believes they're being watched. This time, however, it was Mother Nature that took center stage. Unsuspecting drivers drive by, making their nighttime commute as safely as possible, likely trying to get home from the hazardous weather. Meanwhile, a funnel cloud forms in the distance, full of lightning as it begins to touch down on the earth. The sky darkens, more so than before, and the storm starts tearing through the landscape. It continues to illuminate the sky with lightning, threatening everything below it, which can be especially dangerous as tornadoes can funnel up flames, creating a savage, burning storm in its wake. Now in this clip, we only see the storm forming and touching down, not the aftermath, but that's enough to drive people a little faster to get home safely. Burglarizing small-town gun shop. This surveillance video was cut down into images as 3 men broke into and stole firearms from a gun store in Mason, Ohio.
Police just released these surveillance photos of suspects in a gun store burglary. Mason police say the suspects broke into the store this morning and they were in and out in less than 2 minutes.
They enter glass cases, stealing firearms from there, with their faces and identities obscured. The store had had a recent string of crimes targeting it, being vandalized and burglarized often enough for local forces to be familiar with the area and the associated criminality. Just a small-town gun shop being routinely targeted like this, it's a little terrifying to imagine those guns just out on the streets, isn't it? Would-be kidnapper thwarted on CCTV. CCTV can catch things we can hardly believe. This 6-year-old knew the dangers that strangers could pose, and she wasn't about to become a victim.
Her family's home surveillance camera caught the attempted abduction and her escape.
When the child was being grabbed by a stranger, she stood her ground and screamed loudly to attract attention. This saved her from a likely terrible fate, as the man quickly let her go and went on his way. She would have caused more trouble and attention, getting him caught. He cuts his losses rapidly enough that she can quickly run back inside. The footage was enough to lead to the arrest of her would-be kidnapper. Luckily, this family had spent the time teaching their daughters how to keep themselves safe because she was the reason she got herself away and secure without any actual harm.
I'm so proud of her, because as soon as she screamed, he let go. So obviously, it does work.
Car crash causes explosion. Car crashes can range from mild to extreme, and this crash in Green, Ohio seems to come out of nowhere. A car parked to the side of the road was suddenly hit from behind by a vehicle that appeared to drift and come out of nowhere. The car from behind caused an explosion, careening both vehicles off the side of the road and into the grass. The fire was short-lived, but the damage was done. As the clip continues, you see most people slow down to avoid the crash, but a few stop their cars altogether and run to help the mangled mess, which is likely very lucky that they did, as things could have gone downhill fast. Old man with cane stops robbery. Sometimes the people you expect the least to fight back are the best. This robber, while fleeing cops, never saw the old man with a cane coming. He was quick, sticking his foot backward right as the robber came by. The man, who identifies himself simply as Bill, later says he knew he only had one opportunity to get this right, and boy did Bill take that shot. The robber, who was armed and being chased by police, goes flying, not having paid enough attention to his feet to have caught the legs sticking out. He hits the ground and he's been disarmed by momentum. Police hit the ground with him and the chase is finally over. No one got hurt, except perhaps some impact damage on the robber's case. Zombie deer in Ohio. It sounds much wilder than anyone can expect. This deer managed to defy all odds. The police were quick to respond and find the situation quite amusing. The nuisance animal was involved in a road accident, but seemed perfectly fine. The police, standing around and chuckling, knew that they're going to take care of the animal on the roadside.
Yeah. He said it's called EHD.
It's got pretty bad road rash on the other side.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
The whole situation is lighthearted and easy, but it's sort of terrifying to imagine. Think, if this was truly a sign of a zombie outbreak, these men standing around handling it like any nuisance animal? It feels like the beginning of a horror movie before anyone knows something is wrong, before the outbreak begins. Before the last clip, since you've watched until this point, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel? We upload 2 new creepy, disturbing, and downright scary videos every week, so make sure to stay up to date with our latest releases by getting those post notifications. If you enjoyed this one, we have plenty more for you on the channel, so you won't want to miss a single one. Dayton gunman caught before shooting on CCTV. Rarely do you have footage of a gunman before they're shooting.
We have brand new video just into CNN tonight. It is exclusive footage of the Dayton, Ohio gunman in the 2 hours leading up to his murderous rampage.
This clip, however, shows the young man in question making his way into the bar. He's alongside his sister and a few others who would later be involved in the shooting. He killed his sister later, but at this moment, no one knew he was even armed. His behavior seems inconspicuous, not grabbing too much attention as he separates from his sister in the crowd. It's terrifying to imagine that no one knew what was happening, that there were no signs and they couldn't have known what was coming. There's no altercation or anything to explain why he did what he did. Just a cold, calculating shooter going about his day like lives aren't about to be massively changed.